Welcome to The Essential Me. This is a series we started today with our special guest speaker, Miss Andi Tippie, who happens to have been my friend for over 30 years. So
I know, I thought about that today.
Isn't that crazy?
Like, that's so crazy.
So super excited about that. She's going to be talking about emotional balance, and she has definitely seen my ups and downs for 30 years. So she's had practice on me. As far as a bio, she's an energy healer and uses vibrational healing techniques of light running to help others shift their perspectives, thoughts, emotions, as well as energetic patterns, using energy, essential oils, and other tools to work with the chakras. And so you're walking away with some concrete ways to help you navigate more gracefully through life.
All right. So what you see on the screen, you should have gotten via email or maybe seen it someplace else. This is the list of the oils that you can use during this presentation. We're going to go through a whole kind of chakra clearing thing a little bit later on. And these are some of the oils. If you don't have a wide variety of oils, don't stress out about it. Lavender, it can absolutely be your go-to oil. So if that's all you have, that's totally fine. I certainly don't have every single one on here, but I do have a good portion of them. So welcome to emotional balancing. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about how to use essential oils with your chakras to help you find your center. So those times when you're feeling maybe a little bit angry or overwhelmed or really, really sad, this can help you feel a little bit more centered and a little bit more aligned, and maybe find a little bit more balanced way to use those energies to help you move yourself forward in your life. So who am I and what do I know? As Tina said, my name is Andi Tippie, and I do something called vibrational or light running vibrational healing. Now, Tina gave you a broad brush overview of it, but what I do is I work with both local clients as well as clients on the phone. And what I'm doing is I'm actually putting you, energetically or physically putting you on this table, and I do some energy work to help balance out your chakras and give you some tools to help you process through something that might be really big that you're working through in the moment. So, and then as well as looking for patterns throughout your life and giving you tools to help you work within those patterns. So what are we going to talk about today? Well, first of all, we're going to talk about chakras and what a chakra actually is, because I know a lot of people may not be fully aware of what a chakra is, or they just have kind of a general knowledge. And we're going to talk a little bit more specifically about the chakras. Then we're also going to talk about how those emotions and other types of energies within those chakras are all connected together, and how you can use that information to, like I said, to balance yourself or to balance each of the chakras. We're also going to learn about which essential oils and how you can use them to balance yourself. And I'm also going to walk you through the basic essential oil and chakra centering exercise. That's why you want to keep those oils handy. You can see that I've got my 4 oils that we're going to be using today. Of course, yours may be slightly different from mine, which is totally fine. And at the very end of this, I'm going to tell you how you can get this free download that shows you all the chakras as well as all this other information. So let's talk briefly about what the chakras are. So the chakras are energy centers that are throughout your entire body, and each chakra has a different location physically on the body. So each chakra, like I said, has a different energy. So we're going to talk first about the root chakra, which is at the base of the spine. And the energy that's within the root chakra is kind of a survival energy and a security energy. So it's making sure that you have food and water and a shelter over your head. You have clothing to keep you warm, etc. And when we have an emotion up, or when that energy is really high, oftentimes situations that might normally be really easy for us to deal with might feel really overwhelming and really challenging. And so by using oils as well as the affirmations, which I know this is a little small, but I'll be walking you through all of this. By using these oils and the affirmation, we can start to release some of that overwhelm or some of that feeling as if everything is really terrifying or as if this is an overwhelming situation. Now, in terms of emotions that are associated with this particular chakra, the emotion is anger. Now, when we talk about the chakra, even though it's at the base of our spine, it actually includes everything essentially from the hips on down to the tip of the toes. And actually, if we're going to get into energy, it goes beyond the bottom of the feet as well. And the energy of anger is really just an energy to help us move forward. So the chakra right above this is the sacral chakra, and that's about, 2 fingers width below your belly button. And it's about your sexuality. It's also about how you feel as a male or a female. It's also how you connect to others. It's your tribe, as well as where money and home, so home as in where you're, not just where you're physically being protected from the elements, but that place that you consider to be cozy and kind of closer to your heart. Okay, so that's the energy within the sacral chakra. As far as the emotion that's there, it's kind of a combination of between fear and anger, depending on whatever it is you're processing through. So a way that you can tell that you're processing through something in your sacral chakra might be that you're really terrified about money in the moment, and money feels very, very overwhelming because that's all in the sacral chakra. Maybe you feel like you don't have enough, regardless of what your bank account looks like. So your bank account could say $1 million, but if you have this energy up, you can still feel as though you just don't have enough. Okay. It can also affect how you're connecting with other people as well. And then as we move up to the third chakra is the solar plexus chakra. This is how we value ourselves just as a human being. It's also about our body image. How are we feeling about ourselves physically, as well as emotionally and mentally? The energy that you can find, the emotion that you can find within the third chakra is fear. So you might notice this, and we're going to talk about this a little bit more. You might notice this as butterflies in your stomach. I know everybody's quite familiar with that right before I started. And that's all part of that fear chakra. So if we take that to the extreme, we might see from a physical aspect of that fear is stomach ulcers. So then if we keep moving up, the next chakra we have above that is the heart chakra. And that's just right there in the center of your chest. And this is about giving and receiving love, both to yourself as well as to others. And if we're feeling out of balance with that, we may be wanting other people to tell us how awesome we are instead of feeling it within ourselves. So that's where the heart chakra might be out of balance. Now, the emotion, I think you guys can pretty much figure out, is grief. And that's what's associated with the heart chakra. So by centering things, we can release that grief and then feel more centered about how we like to give and receive love. So the next chakra we have right above that, and it doesn't hold any specific emotions, but although it can have emotions associated with it that are influenced by our other ones when they're out of balance, and that is the throat chakra. Now, the throat chakra is about looking at things in different ways. So we can, choose to be very, close-minded about how we look at different things. It's also about how we perceive things. It's also about making choices and speaking up. So are we going to make choices based on, what our intuition is trying to share with us, what our higher self is trying to share with us? Or are we going to make our choices based on a fear or based on our anger or even based on our grief? So it's about how we're choosing to make those choices. And when that's out of balance, we can be really muddy or have a lot of confusion about how we want to make a particular choice. Above that is the third eye chakra. Now that's right up here between your eyes, just above your eyebrows in the middle of your forehead. And this is about your intuition or your ego. So now our ego is, of course, it's part of our personality, but it's also something that likes to take over and bring in judgment, or bring in things like we should do this or we need to do this, instead of recognizing that we're making choices to do those particular things. So when we're in that judgmental mind, or we tend to overthink things, that's where balancing out that chakra can be really helpful, because then we can begin to feel into our intuition, and we can get more information about what our correct next step is without having our ego get in the way. And then finally, we have the crown chakra. So our crown chakra is right at the top of our head. And this is our connection to our higher self, to the universe, to God, whatever it is that your belief system says. This is our connection to that higher frequency of information. And when we are connected, we can feel a lot more peaceful, knowing that we're always supported and always loved. So one thing I really want to make sure you understand is that none of these chakras is more important than the other. All of the chakras really work together so that we can live our lives in a wholehearted way. So when our crown chakra is connected and our third chakra is connected, we can get information that's intuitive, that helps us live things out in our real lives, using our root chakra helping us move forward, and then allows us to make really clear choices and to feel comfortable about whatever our money situation happens to be, or whatever our tribe looks like, or what have you, how we feel about ourselves. And then, of course, it helps us step back when we need to and move forward when we need to, in a very balanced way, as well as doing it with a completely open heart. So getting them all aligned is really, really important. And so often I talk to people who believe that one particular chakra is more important than the other, and I really don't believe that that's the case. Okay, so now let's talk just briefly about chakras, emotions, and physical issues. So we've talked a little bit about the energy and the emotions, but one thing I also want you to understand is that emotions and physical ailments that are associated with the same chakra, they can often be alleviated or centered or balanced by using the same oils that you would use on either one of them. So as an example, if we take a look at the solar plexus chakra, like I said, that's just below the ribs, in that soft indentation right there. So that solar plexus chakra has the energy of self-value as well as fear, how we're valuing ourselves in our physical bodies and how we care about ourselves. And when we want to, we're going to kind of focus on the fear portion of it right now. So when we want to balance out that fear that we're not enough, that fear of making a presentation, that fear of doing something within our lives, when I tap into it and look it up, I find that On Guard and Digest Zen are both excellent oils, not only for the fear, but also for your physical ailment, whatever that happens to be within that area. So it's pretty fascinating. I'm going to share a story with you. Not too long ago, we'll say maybe 6 months ago, I had, you know how sometimes you feel like totally out of sorts and you feel like you're sort of a little bit crazy, and even though your life looks great, you still feel completely out of balance. Well, that's how I felt. And for me, it was this terror, in my case, of losing my children. It was just absolutely overwhelming for me. And I had a really, really hard time doing the things that I needed to do. And I was supposed to make Halloween costumes for my girls. And so what I did is I went into my room that I was going to be doing my sewing, and I diffused a combination of On Guard and Wild Orange, which are both excellent for fear. And although my fear wasn't gone, it actually created this space for me to still do the things that I needed to do. Before I diffused it, all I could do was sit on, honestly, all I could do was sit on the couch and just play on my phone, because I just couldn't even think straight. But as soon as I started diffusing those, It was like this veil lifted. And even though I still had that fear up, I was able to do the things that I needed to do. And it also, I truly believe it also allowed it to leave, that whole overwhelming fear to leave significantly faster than I think it would have if I hadn't been using my oils. All right, so, but how? How are you going to choose the oil to go with the chakra of the emotion, especially if you don't know what chakras all that well, or if you're in the middle of feeling super duper triggered? Well, I've got a little special thing for you. I've got this handy dandy little handout. For those of you that know Tina, her daughter is right in between my daughters in terms of age. So Tina's daughter actually drew this and created this background, which I think is absolutely beautiful. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you at the end how you can actually download or get this download. But it'll have on there all of these things we've already talked about, as well as some affirmations which we'll be using, and the essential oils that we're also going to be using throughout this whole presentation. All right, so we're gonna try this out. This is super cool. I've done it so many times I start to get dizzy every time I do it, but we're gonna have fun with this. I'm gonna have you have your oils handy. It's gonna be another minute or two before we do this. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be applying the oils to 4 of your chakras with the intention of releasing any of those emotions and patterns that no longer support where you want to go and what you want to do in your life. So I sat with which oils or which chakras to choose. And I think it's really important to always do the root chakra as well as the crown chakra anytime you do this. And if that's all you do, then that's perfect. But if you're processing through a lot of grief, you might want to toss in the heart chakra. If you're processing a lot of fear, you might want to toss in the 3rd chakra. But you can do all of the chakras as well if that's what you choose to do. So the 4 chakras that I've chosen are the root chakra, the 3rd chakra, which is the seat of fear, that's the solar plexus chakra, the heart chakra, the seat of grief, and then of course our connection to our higher self from our crown chakra. So what can you expect by going through this little exercise? You can potentially expect a small emotional release or even a big emotional release. You may find some grief come to the surface or some anger come to the surface, what have you. That's totally normal. You may also feel, or you may instead feel dizzy, and that's releasing a lot of these old patterns through a crown can often that's one of the reasons that we can feel dizzy. We might even feel energized, maybe not directly afterwards, but once these patterns have moved, we might find that we have all this energy to do these things that might have been tripping us up for a while. And directly afterwards, we might feel a little bit tired. So we've been holding on to these old emotions because we don't know what's going to happen if we let go of them, or we're holding on to these old patterns because we don't really know how to let go of them. And oftentimes when we let it go, just like you do physically, you can just get really, really exhausted. That's totally normal as well. And all of these things will pass. Or you might feel nothing. You might do all of these things and you might feel nothing, but that doesn't mean that things aren't shifting. You just may not be aware of it. All right. You guys ready? So we're going to start with the root chakra. So what I'm going to have you do is make sure that your feet are handy. If for some reason they're not, you can also rub this on your knees or on your hips. Those are also some great ways to do this. So the first oil that I'm going to use is Balance, but as you can see down at the bottom, you can also use ylang ylang, lavender, sandalwood, and I can't see beyond there. So, and I believe that that's all 4 of them. So what we're going to do is we're going to rub this. We're going to take a drop. You're just going to choose one foot. And I'm going to put a drop in my hand and I'm going to rub it into the bottom of my foot. Now you can do this in your head, but I'm going to read this affirmation to you. And we're going to do this 3 times. So as you're rubbing it into your first foot, I want you to think silently, in this moment, I am safe. In this moment, I am safe. In this moment, I am safe. Then I'll have you let that settle. I'm going to have you take a nice deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. And then we're going to do that one more time on your other foot. Now, what I like to do when I'm doing this is I actually like to close my eyes. Of course, that's not required. Once again, we're going to rub it into our feet and we're going to say, in this moment, I am safe. In this moment, I am safe. In this moment, I am safe. Then I'd like you to take a nice deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. And then with your eyes closed, before we move on to the next chakra, I just want you to be aware of what you might be feeling within your body. Just take note of it. There's no judgment. If you feel nothing, that's totally fine as well. I feel a little tingling on the bottom of my feet, and I feel it kind of rising up to my ankles. Okay? You may feel some grief coming to the surface. Whatever you're feeling is totally normal. All right, now we're going to go on to the next chakra. So we'll put our first chakra oil away. And then I'm going to grab a wild orange, which is probably upside down. A wild orange, and I'm going to use that. Wild orange happens to be one of my absolutely favorite oils. I just find it so powerful and so amazing. So now where we're going to put it is where our ribs come together. Okay, there's that soft spot. So you're just going to lift your shirt or whatever, and you're just going to put a drop on your finger, and you are going to rub it into your third chakra, and you're going to think to yourself, I am always loved and supported. I am always loved and supported. I am always loved and supported. And then I'll have you take a nice deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. And I want you to just take note of what you're feeling in your body, whether you're feeling anything at all, what you're feeling emotionally or physically, and just allow it to be there. Okay. And now we're going to move on to the heart chakra. So like I said, the heart chakra is right at the center of your chest. And for this one, I'm going to be using lemon, but you could also use lavender, basil, forgive, or breathe. I find that forgive, especially for holding a grudge, is a very powerful oil. And breathe, honestly, I find that's a really powerful oil when you're feeling like you're not quite enough. So whatever you've chosen is totally fine. So once again, I'm going to be just using some lemon, and I'm going to put a drop on my finger, and I'm going to rub it into the center of my chest while saying, I love and value myself. I love and value myself. I love and value myself. Once again, I'm going to have you take a nice deep breath in through your nose, out through your mouth. And just be aware of any sensations you might be feeling throughout your body, any emotions that might be coming to the surface. Now, I want to point out that actually the heart chakra extends along your arms as well. Okay, and it's interesting because I'm actually feeling a lot of tingling in my hands. It's not to the point where it's like falling asleep or anything, but there's just kind of a buzziness to my hands, which is funny because I haven't felt this doing this whole exercise. And I'm finding that I'm feeling like just sort of a lightness through my body. So just be aware of what you're feeling. And finally, we're going to do the crown chakra. Today, I'm going to be using frankincense. You can also use arbor vitae, peace, or arise. Lavender is also a great one, which we'll talk about in a minute, that can be used through all of the chakras. So once again, what we're going to do is get a drop on our finger. Whew. I can already feel this. And I'm going to go ahead and just sort of maybe get your hair out of the way, and you're going to rub it into the top of your head saying, I am connected and centered. I am connected and centered. I am connected and centered. Once again, we're going to take a nice deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. And once again, we're going to sit here for a moment. And I want you to be really aware of what's going on. If you feel anything at all, don't discount it. Maybe your belly's making some noises. Maybe you're feeling a little dizzy. Maybe you're feeling nothing at all. But whatever you're feeling is totally fine. But I want you to be aware of whatever sensations are in your body. One more deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth as we kind of close out this little exercise. And let's keep going on. So how do you choose the oil? So like I said, I'm going to be giving you that handout. You're going to be able to download it if you'd like to do that. And in that handout is a list of all of the oils that you can associate with each of the chakras, along with all of the affirmations, because each of the chakras I've created a different affirmation for. And that will help you choose that oil. So what if you choose the wrong one? What if you're like, all I have is lemon and I really want to use it on my root chakra? Then by all means, there's really no such thing as choosing the wrong oil. You know, you do have to be careful with using certain oils carefully, because some of them aren't as, you know, can be really strong on your skin, and you may not want to take them internally, but you can't choose the wrong oil from an energetic sense. So whatever you choose is going to be perfect for where you are. And as a matter of fact, there are times when I choose the oil based on what intuitively feels correct. Okay, so is there an all-purpose oil? So one of the things that I really wanted to get across is that although it's really beneficial for different reasons to use a variety of oils, and you can see all my oils back there that I have to choose from, and then choosing oils that resonate with a particular issue. But I find that lavender is truly an amazing, amazing oil. And you can absolutely use that on any of your chakras, and I believe that you'll feel that shift and that change. And then how often should you do this? So it's, this exercise takes only a few minutes. You can tell that if I only choose to do the first chakra and the seventh chakra, that it only takes a minute or two. And so you could easily do this every day. So one thing you might consider doing is just getting up in the morning, choosing 2, 3, 4, 5 oils, even do all 7 chakras, whatever feels correct for you, and run through this exercise, and then check in with yourself after a week and see what kind of shifts and changes you see emotionally, how you feel in a centered manner, how your chatter in your brain might be going, things along those lines, to see if it helps you shift and move things out of the way. The other thing you could do is just kind of keep this as a tool in your back pocket and use it when you feel really off center, when you feel really out of whack and you really want to feel a little bit more centered. Maybe take 5 minutes and just do this to see what kind of, see how much more centered you can feel within whatever's going on for you. Okay, so how do you get this handout? I'm gonna send the link to Tina, but I'll also send it to everybody that's on my list as well. But what you can do is you can actually write down that URL down at the bottom, and don't worry if you miss it, because I'm not going to be on this page long. I'll have it on my questions and answer page as well, so you can write it down. And what that'll do is that'll allow you to sign up for my newsletter, and then you'll, as soon as you sign up, you should immediately get a download. And you can always send me an email if you have any problems with it. But on this handout, like I said, it has a list of all of the chakras, as well as what their energy is, what an affirmation that might be really supportive for that chakra is, as well as the oils and the emotion, if there's an emotion associated with that particular chakra. So I also wanted to make sure that you know that there are other tools out there for emotionally balancing yourself with essential oils. I absolutely love, this is an app that I have. I think you can get the book too, but the one thing I like about the app is that it gets updated with new oils when there's new oils out. So Essential Emotions is the name of the app, and I have it on my iPhone, and I use it almost daily. And it has a list of all the emotions, both or a lot of emotions, in a balanced as well as an out of balance sort of way. And it talks about what oils are good for helping support those particular emotions that are out of balance, as well as some questions, some deeper questions if you really want to ask why these are out of balance. It also has a list of oils as well as what emotions it can help balance, and some body information as well. I use, like I said, I use this all the time. I also have an emotion wheel. Tina, do you sell these as well?
No, actually, they're, I think, from Aroma Tools, and you might be able to get them from Oil Life. Both
Okay.
of those have a lot of different accessories, and they also have the Essential Emotions book.
Oh, great. Okay. I totally forgot about that. Thanks for saying that.
Mm-hmm.
And if for some reason you don't want to go out and grab one, you can always get in touch with me, and I can share with you where to get those, and you can get those. They're pretty. I use it a lot. I actually use the app like a whole lot more, honestly. And then I also offer light running vibrational healing. And like I said, I do that locally as well as from a distance. I'm in Colorado, and I actually have clients down in Arizona, like Tina. I've worked on Virginia as well. I've also done, I also have several clients up in Oregon, all over the United States, in all honesty. So if you're interested in finding out more about that, certainly shoot me an email and I can give you some more information. And then you can always shoot me an email. I actually do have a couple other tools that I find are really beneficial that may not be specifically linked to oils, but I can also help you determine which oils might be helpful if you're processing through something or bringing up a lot of emotions that are kind of overwhelming. So, and that's it. So what I'd like to do is open it up to any questions if anybody has any questions. And of course, the link to get that free download is down there at the bottom of the screen. So just unmute yourself and ask me any questions that you might have. Well, and I'm going to put this page up just so you can see what my email address is. It's Andi@exposingthelight.love. And so if you have any questions, or Norma, if you want to get a little bit more clarification of what you're processing through right now, whatever that is creating that that swelling, which I totally understand because I've dealt with that as well, just shoot me an email and I'll be happy to do what I can to help you out.
Awesome. Well, this is what we have coming up. We have Kat Kiefer coming up next. She is a nurse and mother of 3, and she's going to be going through Essential Family, busy family of ages 2 through 7, 2 boys and a girl, and you can see the cute little face on Savannah there. So she'll be talking about tantrums and her dogs and just family life, busy, busy, busy. And then I'll be doing the women's health next. So that's our March lineup. We again thank Andi for kicking us off in such a great way. I'll post the link on Essential Partners Facebook page that you're on. So that link will take you directly to the YouTube channel for that specific video.
Yeah, and if you signed up through me, then I will get that link from Tina as soon as it's live, and I will get it out to you as well.
Perfect. All righty. Well, thank you for joining us. Hope you had a good time. Thank you, Andi.
Thank you.